Welcome, everybody. Today we're talking about taxes, accounting, and bookkeeping. All those I don't know much about. That's why we brought in Rita. She is an expert in this area. She has a business and she runs this in her firm. She has 15, no, over 15 years experience. And she's an expert and she does this for content creators as well as other businesses, medium and small businesses. So I think that will fit the majority of our needs in our group. So happy to have Rita join us today. The flow of the call will be Rita's going to explain her services and what she has to offer, as well as some general questions that she anticipates you guys will ask, which I think will be a great way to start thinking about the topic. And then afterwards, we're going to open the floor for Q&A so that you can ask specific question, but do refrain from asking too specific to your case. That way, you're not revealing any information. And we want to also keep this to a general type of specific question. I know it's kind of weird that it's specific general, but what I mean by that is don't ask a question too specific to your actual situation, because we can't answer that in a group setting. But also, because you're joining us today, Rita will be able to do some one-on-one consultants with you guys. So she'll share information about all that. I just wanted to really quickly go over that and just introduce Rita. She'll be doing most of the talking today. So I'm gonna give the mic to you, Rita, and I'll just moderate the chat here. So Rita, welcome to our call.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the webinar. Hopefully, I can relieve some of the stress from your life. You might know me as one of your fellow influencers. I'm in David's group and a bunch of other groups, obviously. I'm pretty vocal with my opinions, so I'm here and there. But in my pre-influencer life, I am an accountant by trade. I have a master's degree of accounting, and I've been personally doing it for a little over 18 years now. And me and my partner have opened our firm to do accounting and tax work for small to medium-sized businesses as well as individual returns. We have clients in all kinds of fields. We're a public accounting firm, so we have seen and done it all. But about 5 years ago, when I first got into LCK and Amazon programs, we kind of sat down to do my tax return and we weren't sure what to do with it. Now, I wasn't making that much money, so we weren't concerned, but we surely started doing our research because I was hoping to make more money. Over the last 5 years, obviously, influencing became kind of a lifestyle and definitely part of how I pay my bills. So it became more and more important to fill out my tax returns properly as the amounts increased. So we looked more into it. We started asking questions. As a firm who's been doing it for a very long time, we have people who we talk to who are other accountants. We have IRS representatives. We get IRS bulletins on daily basis about the change in laws, but there's not a lot out there for our industry. Fortunately or unfortunately, it's just so new. And even though it is becoming the industry of the century, with pretty much everybody running their TikTok and Instagram and Amazon influencers, there's just not a lot of information out there. So you kind of have to make it up from little small pieces and bits here and there. And this is why a lot of you are getting very different answers from your CPAs, your accountants, and your advisors. But over the last 5 years, we've really been concentrating on this industry and doing a lot of research. And right now, and I just checked yesterday, we have 78 influencers on our client roster. So we've been doing pretty well, and we have been niching into this industry. And we have a lot of answers that other accountants might not have, simply because they don't have a lot of clients in this niche and they have not done enough research. What we do is we help creators like you to relieve some of the stress. We help you to sleep better at night. Pretty much every person I talk to in this industry has no idea what are allowable deductions. They don't even know how much money they're really making on a monthly basis. And they're just kind of, you know, faking it till they make it and hoping that things will be okay. But almost everyone, as they start to make sufficient amounts of money, are starting to lose sleep over this. So what we're hoping to do is we're hoping to help you feel better and lose a little bit less sleep by helping you out and actually spitting the numbers back at you that you might have not known. I do want to touch on a few things as to a lot of people have been asking, how do I know who is the right person to work for me, whether it's tax work or accounting work? The best answer is the person that makes you the most comfortable. First and foremost, you want to be able to have a relationship where you want to, if you want to ask them a question, you can. For those of you that know me, you know that I'm pretty much available on that messenger 24/7. Unless I'm on a plane or, God forbid, in a hospital, I'm answering my DMs within 20 minutes. This is a very rare service that most accounting firms will not provide you. There's also two of us. There's me and my partner. So you can always reach one of us within half an hour. So if you wake up and you want an answer now, by messaging me, you can get that answer, which is a rare, very rare service. So you want somebody you can trust and who you can have that relationship with. And the second thing you really want is somebody who will represent you. And when I say represent you, I'm jumping a little bit ahead of myself, because what I need to tell you guys is the question that's also been asked a lot. Can I get audited, and will I get audited? There's two types of audit. One type of audit is a red flag audit. This is when you're writing off more than most people in the industry, and you're yielding that red flag where IRS thinks you're doing something wrong. Whether it's true or not doesn't matter. This is a red flag audit where they can go in and audit you and ask for the proof of what you're putting on your tax return. We can protect you. We cannot guarantee, but we can do our best to protect you from that kind of an audit. Because we're in this industry, because we're in this business for so long, we know where the red flags are, and we will advise you to cut down on certain things, to move your expenses in different categories, or maybe even to forego an expense if we really think it's going to put you in a red flag audit. The second audit, however, no one will protect you from. And if any accountants tell you that they guarantee you that you will not be audited, they are lying to you. You need to turn around, walk out of that door, hang up that phone, whatever you're doing immediately. Because there's such a thing as a random audit. And it's a complete lottery. No one will ever save you from that. And there's no guarantee whether you will get it this year, 5 years from now, or never get it. It's a completely random audit. Now, what a lot of tax preparers will tell you is, if you get in an audit, well, you just tell them whatever, just tell them this is true. We don't go that route. If you are a client and you go through a random audit, we will be there to represent you. Whether it is writing letters of explanation to IRS, whether it is meeting with an IRS agent if they are coming to your town over, if you're not local, we'll do it over Zoom. IRS is great with that nowadays. Whether it is helping you collect the information to prove that what we have in fact put in your tax return is true, we will be there for you every step of the way if it does take place. And this is what you want to hear from your tax accountant and your accountant in general. Now, someone mentioned going to H&R Block or going to one of those small companies that are now everywhere. So I just wanted to mention to you guys, H&R Block trains their employees in 2 weeks. You need, and I know this because I went through that training when I was in college. I actually worked for an H&R Block for a whooping 30 days. You need no pre-existing knowledge, training, or education to be an H&R Block tax filer. The only thing they train you on is their software, which is spitting questions in them. So they're sitting in front of you with their computer and asking you questions that they see on their screen. They're no better at doing that than you are. So if you're going that route, TurboTax might be a cheaper option. 2 weeks training, and guess what? Most of them do not come back the next year. So those are people who are only there for 1 year. What happens if you get audited? You will call an H&R Block and they will tell you that the letter that you signed when you agreed for them to file your tax return states that all the information provided to you, provided is by you, and you are fully responsible for it. So they will not be there for you during an audit. at all. There'll be no letter writing. There'll be no meeting with your IRS agent. There will be no answers because, first of all, the person who did your return is most likely gone. And even if they're not, they're sitting there going through 10 to 20 returns a day. So they will have no idea who you are. And secondly, they don't have the accounting background or knowledge to really even communicate with an IRS agent when you're going through an audit. So am I saying that H&R Block is horrible? Absolutely not. If your returns are so easy that you can probably do them yourself, you have no questions, no concerns, and you just kind of don't want to buy the software and want somebody to punch the numbers in for you, great. We cannot match their prices. I can tell you that, there's a question, one of the most common questions is the cost of the services. There's no way that a professional service company can ever match our H&R prices. And the reason for that is because we spend more time researching than they spend filing your return. There's no research done. Not only that, in our industry, they simply do not have the answers for you at all because it's such a new industry out there. Now, for those of you using TurboTax or another self-preparation software, it's the same thing. You are responsible for everything you put in there. You have to do your own research. When you Google things, there's so much information there and so many answers. If you personally feel comfortable finding those answers yourself, if you don't feel you need to ask anybody else, and you are comfortable sleeping at night doing TurboTax, then stick with what works for you. But majority of people we talk to do not feel comfortable, do not feel assured that their answers are answered. And that's where we come in. You guys, I see the chat comment. I just can't multitask enough to read. So I'm going to jump onto that when I'm kind of done going through the most common question here. The way that we work, we are a two-partner firm. I do the accounting and bookkeeping part, and my partner does tax work. So I think we talked enough about tax work, kind of to get you to understand why you would want somebody real to represent you. We will sit with you. We will talk with you through your process. We will ask, what kind of creation are you doing? A lot of people, the main question that we get from everyone, not even just our industry, but especially in our industry, is what am I allowed to write off? I can spend an entire day talking to every single one of you to tell you that those write-offs are going to be different for every single one of you in this webinar and every single person in the group in general. Are you doing cooking on your channel? Well, if you're doing cooking, then you can write off a little bit more of the groceries or whatever you're buying to do your cooking. If you're doing general influencing and here and there you sprinkle in a cooking class or you're making a Thanksgiving pie that you put on there, no, you cannot write off your daily groceries. Can you write off your gas? Well, that depends. What do you do? Do you go to the stores to record your content? Do you have engagements outside of your home, or is everything sent to you? And not only that, your deductions are also based on how much you're really making a year. Somebody who is making $100 a month versus someone who is making $50,000 a month have very different deduction standards, have very different spending habits, and need to keep their accounting very, very differently. So when we're doing your tax, we're asking all of those questions. We're asking if you have a structure. Do you have an S Corp? Do you have an LLC? Do you run everything through your personal account? Do you have a business account? We are also recommending better practices for your business. What is better? What is going to get you into audit least likely? And in addition to that, at the year end, and this is right now, you would be shocked. You would think for accounting firm, April is the busiest month. Not true at all. This is our busiest season, in fact. And here is why. We know the write-offs, the deductions, and the credits allowed in 2023. So we're going and we're talking to every single client and we're asking them, Are you looking to buy a car? Because there's a car credit this year. You're better off buying it on December 31st than on January 1st. So if you have that money in your account that you're going to be paying tax on, buy that car now and get a credit for it. Do you need a new computer you're planning to buy on January 1st? Maybe we can still get it this year so you can get the deduction. So we are actually very involved with you and your business once you become our client for the reasons to legally limit your tax liability. It's not a loophole. Nothing illegal is happening. You are getting professional advice from an accounting firm as how to better manage your funds at the year end. We can help you much more if you sign up before the year end, because you can still change the painting while it's wet, but once it's all dried up on January 1st, there's only so much we can do. We can't go back in time. We don't have a time machine. We cannot change things that's been done. That's as far as the tax part of our business. We also have an accounting and bookkeeping service. And I know for a lot of you, and this is what I get all the time, I'm too small. I don't make enough money to even think about it. But here's the thing. I actually, and this is where I thought that our industry and our people really need more help with accounting and bookkeeping. I saw this post in January in one of the groups. I know it wasn't David's group. I'm not sure which group it was, but I'm looking 20 of those. So this guy writes, I made 50,000 on Amazon this year. And everybody goes like, wow, that's great news. Again, this is my first year I made 50,000. So everybody's sitting there congratulating him. Great, 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 great. And then I go, and well, how much did you spend this year? And he goes, I spent close to 80,000 on Amazon. But, some of this wasn't for my business. A lot of it was my personal. And I go like, well, how much was your personal? And the guy has no idea. So end of the day, he really does not know if he made money doing what he did or if he lost money doing what he did. And then what did you do with all those things that you bought for your business? Did you do reviews? Did you resell them? Did you donate them? Are you getting some kind of write-offs on them? How much did you really make? And this is the question that most of us have no answer to. In fact, I do this for a living. And if you ask me today on the 13th of November, how much money I actually, like what my profit margin is this month, I have no idea, because I'm going to sit down and do all of this on the last day of the month, because this is just a little too cumbersome. All we know is what's coming in, and we're crossing our fingers, and we're hoping that we're making money, more money than we're spending. So this is where accounting and bookkeeping comes in. We can help you on a monthly basis to know where you stand. If you're losing money and you bought all the stuff, well, as an Amazon influencer, maybe instead of buying more new stuff next month, maybe go in and do 2 extra reviews on the stuff that you have. And those are the thought process that in order to have it, you need to actually see, know, and feel your numbers. The other reason why a lot of us actually need monthly bookkeeping and accounting is if you're in this industry, and I know a lot of you guys have W-2, so this is not the income that you depend on. But if you're trying to get approved for a mortgage, they ask for 2 things. They ask for your last year tax returns, and then they ask for your pay stubs. What a lot of them don't ask for is your P&L, because they don't even know you have this business because you don't tell anybody. But in fact, most of us make a little bit more on this business every year, or at least that's the idea and the hope of staying in this business. If we actually do in your monthly accounting, we can provide your underwriters with your financial statements, with your P&L, with your balance sheets, to show that your income has in fact grown since your last tax return. Because what you're showing during the last year might be 50,000 this year more. So that's a different mortgage you're looking at. So we're very helpful when you're getting a mortgage, when you're applying to buy a new car, when you're applying for a business loan, which is huge right now. Small business loans are back in, you guys. In fact, during COVID, we had 24, I just checked, we had 24 creators on our roster, and every single one of them was able to get SBA loan. And we have helped with all the paperwork for that, and we were able to get them SBA loans. And some of them who actually employ people were also able to get PNP loans as well, which were later forgiven. So if there is anything that government is giving out for free, we will know about it, and we will come to you and say, do you want to apply for this? I think you can get this. Now, SBA loans are, I believe, at 2.48% for most of my clients. None of them went over 3%. So this is the lowest interest rate you can get in this market. Even the cars now are 5%. So people are taking those loans and they're using them to expand their businesses. This is where accounting bookkeeping really helps, because for your tax accountant, you're only talking to them maybe twice, 3 times a year. If you're doing accounting and bookkeeping services with us, you're talking to me every 30 days, whether it's on a text message, on a messenger, email, or a phone call. We are talking every 30 days because I need to get your statements. I need to hear how you're doing. I need to know if you have questions for me. So this is a continuous communications. Let me see, what did we not go through? Cost. Okay, so cost of tax and accounting services. This is a loaded question. And so Stephanie just asked that. So I will give you a range. Our bookkeeping services start at $250 a month. Our tax services start at $350 a year, obviously. This can range greatly, and I will explain why. Someone will have one business account and everything is going through that. Some people will have two business accountants, one personal and one business account, but they intermingle. And someone else will have 10 streams of income and 10 different bank accounts and 5 credit cards. So their cost will be substantially more. This is why I am offering those 30 minutes of free consultation, no strings attached whatsoever. You guys know me. I'm not trying to fool anybody. The last thing I want is a client who doesn't want to be with me, because then we have to talk every month. And I don't like talking to people who don't like us. So let's like each other. If you feel comfortable, if you want to stay with us, then we go to the next stage. If not, we hang up the phone and we're great. And you got some free advice, hopefully, learn some new things. And like I said, no strings attached. This is the best time to really get your price quoted. Because on a personal call, I can ask you more about your business, about what you do, about your structure. Again, whether you have an S Corp, an LLC, or you're doing it just on your own, whether there's a spouse involved, whether there's children involved, whether there's employees or subcontractors involved. So much there that is much better answered on a personal call. All right, I think I'm done with my little speech here. David, correct me if I am missing anything. I'm gonna try to switch into chat here to see what's happening.
Yeah, that's amazing. A lot of really, really good information. And I've said it many times already, the comfort and peace of mind of having someone available to answer questions, just like even just questions about should I buy this, should I buy that, is so reassuring. I think that's priceless. Like literally right now, my situation is I purchased a Tesla and I don't know if I'm going to get that $7,500 credit because I don't know how much I'm making and how much I should be writing off. Should I buy something to write off? And questions like this is so important to ask somebody like you. So just having peace of mind is so important, and I love that you're offering that with your services. And also the other peace of mind is the ability to have someone handhold you or us when we are going through audits. That's another nightmare that I have time after time. I mean, I file the taxes to the best of my knowledge using TurboTax and all the resource in the internet, but there's always situations like if this and do this, if that do that, and then like these are answers on the internet. I can't go back and ask them, well, do you mean this? Do you mean that? It's like just take the information and use it however you can. So I just have to make my guess. And I'm just like,
And the worst thing is when you get into those forums where there's, and sometimes I just go read those just for the laughs and giggles. And
oh,
it's
geez.
20 people who have no idea what they're talking about, but they all advise on each other. And I'm sitting there like, what's going to happen when you all get audited?
Yeah,
So it's
seriously.
dangerous. Internet is very dangerous when you're dealing with legal aspects of those things.
And what's worse is sometimes it's not even internet. It's like H&R, not H&R, but I use TurboTax Home and Business for the last 15 years. I thought it was great, but apparently I've learned that it allows you to enter things that is not even right. So I thought it was like a dummy-proof solution. So I'm like, okay, as long as I do my TurboTax and I click the button, check my audit level, and it's green, I'm good. I'm not gonna get audited. Now I'm fearful of two things. Of course, I don't trust that software anymore. And number two, I know there's existing of a random audit, even though I'm perfectly in line, and I don't
Right.
honestly. I don't know if am or not, but even if I'm perfectly in line, I can still get audited. And I don't even know where to start if I get audited because there's so many. I think I did this right situation. It's just piled up in 15 years. I have a Schedule C that has just piled up. It's probably about 100 pages now because I keep adding to it. I don't know when to take things out or when they're fully. Never mind. These are my problems. But what I'm saying is that you are offering so much peace of mind. I'm obviously going to go with you because I've been struggling with this, and as I've been growing with my social media business, and I've had a wedding photography business for 10 years, it's time that I get some professional assistant because it's worth it. Especially if you mention stuff that if we know that changes, there's more savings involved, and by just making sure that you take advantage of all these opportunities. For one example is I struggle with the SBA loans because I knew I needed it, but I wasn't sure if I qualified. So I ended up waiting too long, and then I didn't have time, and I missed out on it completely. I regretted that, just missing out on it. But then I regret it even more when it was forgiven. I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah, so like these like just if I can turn back in time, I would have hired you from the start. But um yeah, so like only moving forward, we can do what we can. So I think you gave away a lot of really good solid general information. But we do have a lot of questions in a
Yeah.
chat. I don't know if you have time to catch up with them. But yeah, just take a moment to look through them. There are some really good questions. You can ignore my comments. My comments are just kind of just reinforcing what you said there. And feel free when you want to add to these answers here. But there's a lot of good questions. Did you get a
All right,
chance to
so
look at
let's
them?
go through some. Yeah,
Let's go.
I'm looking right now. I think
Awesome.
some we answered throughout, but let's just start at the very top. All right, so Andrew, do all business expenses all need to be within the same year as a startup? For example, buying a computer 1 year prior to establishing LLC. So the rule of the thumb is they do need to be during the year that you open your LLC. However, we can back that into because you bought it on your personal fund. So what we can do is we can create a purchasing agreement where your business will purchase it from you at the same price and then restart your depreciation the year that your LLC started.
Wow,
So
that's a cool
there
tip.
are ways around it. You do need a professional accountant doing this. You don't want, this is something you don't want to be messing with yourself because there has to be a backup agreement where if you get audited, you can show that yes, I bought it for myself. I didn't have a LLC yet. I haven't started using it. It was standing nicely in a box. And then I opened my business and my business needed a computer. So I sold it to my business. Because you are a separate entity, you can do that. We can create all the paperwork for you. And if you ever get audited on it, it's a low chance of an audit for something as a computer. But I know a lot of you guys are buying like expensive equipment. I'm not quite there yet, but I know you guys are building out studios, buying cameras, computers, all of this Macs and stuff. So for some of you, we're talking about 10, 20,000 possibly, not just a laptop purchase. So it does add up. On that note, I'm not going to mention a name, but someone that I spoke to from the group of influencers told me that their accountant said that you cannot have a loss in your business the first year. This had my jaw dropped because most of us are going to have a loss during the first year. We are buying equipment, we are buying things to review, we are trying to create a business out of the thin air pretty much at this point. We are doing our logos, our websites, all of that is expenses, and a lot of that money is not coming in. Especially if you started during the middle of the year, you for sure aren't seeing. We're like 90 days out on most commissions. Amazon is 60 days, LTK is 90 to 120 days. Most of those affiliates are out 120 days. So you're not seeing most of that money your first year. So having a loss the first year of your business is okay. And we can put that on your tax return. I know it will absolutely not yield a red flag audit. So if an accountant tells you that, run, because they have no idea what they're talking about. Not most, but I would say 30 to 40% of the businesses are showing losses in their first year. And there's nothing wrong with that because that's just how the business world is. All right, let's see. My chat keeps going up to the last one. All right, Steven. I was audited making a 36,000 a year, work a normal job with taxes was held. I wrote off a few thousand medical due to a surgery. I was accidentally off by $1,000. They over refunded me like 200. It was horrible. I moved so they could not get a hold of me, so they audited me for 2 years. It went on for a year. I paid like 2,000 in fees, over 2,000. The IRS is devil. They also like. So here's the problem. People, first of all, people think that IRS is this big organization and they look at it that way. In fact, you're dealing with one human being when you get into audit. If you're really unlucky, they might go on maternity leave or quit, and you might be dealing with two people. But more than often, you're dealing with one human being. And if they happen to be an evil human being who lies, then you're getting an evil human being who lies. And that's the end of it. And there's nothing you can do. You can complain to their supervisors that they're really being nasty to you. But at the end of the day, you're better off just kind of rolling over because that's how the cookie crumbles. Now, in my personal experience, and we've been through over 270 audits at this point, because a lot of our clients come from a place where they're being audited and their tax accountant and accountant are gone, not picking up the phone. So we've been through a whole ton of audits. In my personal opinion, most of the people there are reasonable human beings who just come to work 9 to 5. And yes, they have bad days and good days, but most of them are reasonable. So everything that we put on a tax return, we want you, a reasonable person, to agree with us. If you think it's crazy, then an IRS agent will think it's crazy too. I promise you. That's just how it works. Now, as far as once you do get audited, whether it's random or red flag, here's what happened. If you pass that audit, they're probably leaving you alone with red flag audits for a long time. And that, don't quote me on that, but that's what we see in our business. If clients who came in with a red flag audit, who we were able to get through and they were able to prove that what they did was proper, do not get red flag audited again. We haven't seen it happen again. And we have clients who've been with us for 15 years now. They can go into random audit. Again, nothing to say. Now, if you go to an audit and they prove that what you have done is wrong, especially if they think that it's fraud versus I just made a mistake, they have a right to go back as 5 years. So they will go back 5 years, and that's where the statute of limitations stands. But if they find another fraudulent activity during those 5 years, then they can keep going back, and there's no statute of limitation. So you want to be careful because they can't keep going back. And if they keep finding stuff, they're going to keep coming after you. If you go through an audit and they find an error and you do not get out clean out of that audit, you will get audited again in the next 5 years. If they don't go after your past year's returns, they're coming after your future returns. So you want to make sure if that audit happens, you walk out clean. You don't want to settle, not to say that there's no cases where settlement is required. We can only do so much. We can recommend and advise you on to what to do, what you need to do. But if you tell us, I want to be more aggressive, I want to take a risk, I want to do that anyways, at the end of the day, you're signing your return. So you can take that risk if you want to. We're going to let you. We're going to advise you against it, but we're going to let you. But we're going to tell you that if you do get into that audit, there's only so much we can do for you. And we're probably going to have to settle with IRS. So that's a risk you're willing to take. Now, moving doesn't help because your return is attached to your social security number, and which you use pretty much, anywhere. Even to even get an apartment, you need to get through a credit check with your social security number. If they really want to find you, they will. Now, a lot of my clients are very worried about going to jail. And we had this conversation. IRS is not in the business of putting people to jail. They're in the business of collecting more money. So as long as, if you own more than what you have, do not be hiding, do not be moving to Mexico. Set a payment plan. If you're with us, we will set one for you with IRS. Yes, there's an interest to it. It's now at 7%, which is the highest it's been in the last, I want to say 10 to 12 years. We never seen it this high. But as long as you're making your minimal payment, no one is going to jail. You will be okay. If you don't file your return, they will give you chance after chance to file it. They will send you letters. They will fine you on it, but they will continue asking you to file. Eventually, though, they will take you to court, at which point you can go to jail. So I never had a client in jail. So God help whenever see this happen, but it is possible. And I do know accountants whose clients ended up in a very bad places. So that's something we want to avoid. Let's see. All right, let's go down and see more questions. Did I miss anything? Stephen, the IRS won't let you know when they owe 100 and claim money, but again, like I said, you're dealing with who you're dealing with. Can you talk about gifted items to make content? What is the rule? I'm keeping track. All right. So this is the biggest question. And it's a loaded question because I can't give you a very good answer. Because first of all, we are all being slammed with items. I'm getting stuff from agents I haven't talked to for a year just because they still have in fact, they're still sending it to my old address where I no longer live. But we're getting stuff whenever I ask for. We're getting stuff that we asked for, didn't know they're coming. Then we're getting the stuff we actually wanted. So there's a lot of differences. When you get stuff you didn't ask for, you can throw them in the trash, and the IRS will not care. When we are talking about stuff that you agree to receive, are we talking about I got the pen for free, or are we talking about David who's been getting treadmills? That's a big difference. How much content are you recording with that pen? Are you using it once and then throwing it out or using it for yourself? Or are you using that pen to write every single time you record a content and mention, by the way, this is a gifted pen and I only use it on my videos? Huge difference. Are you a chef? Are you a sport person who's using that treadmill? Or do you record kind of content for everything? The treadmill kind of felt on top of your head. For all of that, we will go through all of your items. It's good to keep record of your items. Don't lose your mind over it. Keep an Excel spreadsheet. Anything you get under $50, end of the day, just record as item A, $20 value. You don't need a detailed description. If you're getting a treadmill, you want to put it on that spreadsheet. We want to talk about it. We want to see what you did with it after you recorded. Did you donate it? Did you sell it? Is it still in your basement? Do you not know what to do with this at this point? So every gifted item is going to be different. For me, and I'll be very honest with you guys, for me, most of my gifted items are under $50. Here and there, I'll get a nice something, but most of them are under $50. I kind of keep an Excel spreadsheet just to know how much value at the end of the year I received. What I personally will do for my tax returns, I will add up everything that I received, and I will use about 20% out of it as gifted items because the rest of it is either donated or gifted. I'm going to get my donation receipts for as much as I can. I'm going to all of the little donation stores around here. We're going to drown in this stuff if we keep them. But if I was to get a large item over $500, at the very least, you need to record anything over $500. This is where the real concern as to how to record it starts. So it's a conversation that each one of you should have with their tax accountant. Let's see, what else do we have? My chat keeps going up every time I close it. Okay. Peace of mind alone is worth paying someone. I agree with you. Do all household bills such as utilities, internet, and so on have to be in a home business owner's name? For example, if someone is married, single, splits bills as a roommate. The best practice is, of course, for it to be in your business name and for your spouse to write you a check for their part. This is the cleanest way to do it. This is the way that we'll love to see it. In reality, no one does it. No one does it. So no, the answer is no, it does not have to be in your business name. What we will do at the end of the year is we will kind of find an amount that is reasonable. So if you made 1,000 this year, maybe we can write off like $100 on your phone because you use it for your business. If you made 100,000, you bet you were writing $100 a month off just on your phone and internet services. And then you get a business office, you get a write-off, like Oprah says, you get one and you get one and you get one. So the more money you make, the more deductions you can claim. I think the major question here is, does it have to be in a business name? No. But if you can put it in a business name, do it. If you can pay it out of the business account, do it, because it is cleaner. And if you're audited, it is that much easier to prove without having to have your spouse write a letter that she has paid half, but the business was paying other half, and trying to take pictures of your home office to show that you actually use the electricity there. Like I said, IRS is one person auditing you. I had someone requesting pictures of someone's office where I had to show how many light bulbs they have used and why we wrote off that much electricity, because he was using cameras and lights all over the place and we were taking a rather large deduction. So, and it was not on business names. It was on him and his wife. They were paying it out of a personal account and we were taking a deduction out of there. It's clean and it's nice if you can have your business expenses separate, but it's not the end of the world and we're not going to lose our sleep over it. All right. I think I answered how much the services cost. Do clients generally get QuickBooks Online and then give you access? All right. So this is a very good question. I should have touched up on that. So we can do things whichever way you are comfortable in. Some of my clients do get QuickBooks Online, and I am QuickBooks certified provider, so I can actually get you a pretty hefty discount on your QuickBooks Online. Some of my clients say, I don't care. I don't want to see anything. Can you tell me at the end of the quarter if I'm making money, or at the end of the month? I will never open that QuickBooks. I don't want to see. For clients that are like that, which is majority of my clients, I'll be very honest with you, most content creator, and not even content creators, most business owners want to concentrate on doing business and bringing money in and hoping that it's whatever they're doing is working. For those clients, we use a desktop QuickBooks version, which is completely free for them. So we don't charge for the software. So you're saving a little bit on the software there throughout the year, which is also nice. And then we send P&L and balance sheet at the end of each month, or, if they're looking for more reports and that's included in their services, we're sending whatever reports are needed by the business owner. So that's a simple question. It's the same with giving us access to your bank accounts. That's worth mentioning. Some of my clients create user IDs for us. You can create an account and access for any of your banks and credit cards. Other clients say, and so those account and access allows me to see everything and run reports, but it does not allow me to move the money around. Not even from one account to another. Forget moving it out. So can't touch your money. However, there's a lot of people who do not want to give that access, which is perfectly fine. If you are that person, then you're taking on an extra responsibility at the end of every month to upload the statements for me. And we have a very detailed document which walks you through what to upload, how to upload, and so on. All right. So we got that. Stephen, I'm glad that you're learning. All right. So another thing I want to mention, because Stephen mentioned his CPA. Hold on one second, you guys. I think I jumped out of this meeting. So another thing I want to mention, a lot of people think that they need a CPA to file their tax return. It's not true. You're kind of getting a surgeon to do a physical exam. You're overpaying somebody for having a CPA certification, and most people don't know this. So when you're looking for accountant, CPA is not the thing that's a must have. What's a must have are good references, somebody who is telling you they will stand behind you, and someone who has been preparing tax for a long time. Because there's a lot of CPAs who are getting out. The easiest way to get your CPA, by the way, is get out of college. You do need masters now to get it. Get your masters, never work a single day, sit for your exam because it requires zero experience of real work. Pass your exam because you have nothing else to do in life. And then open a CPA firm because now you're a CPA certified accountant who doesn't have any experience. So you might run into some of those. Really, what CPA certification allows you to do is to do independent audits on public companies. This is where CPA is needed. You guys are not public companies. If you are, I'm not going to take you as a client because that is way too much work for us. So none of my clients are publicly traded companies. If you are a publicly traded company, you still don't need a CPA to do your tax return. In fact, you want a non-CPA to do your tax return and a CPA to do your audit because they cannot do both. So that's my speech on the CPA thing. They do charge significantly more. I do not know why. They are insured, but so are most accounting professional companies. They're bonded. Again, so are most professional accounting companies. So I think it's just a lot of people just do not know difference. And I do like to educate people on that. Okay, let's see what else. Do we have more questions? What about if a company sends you a bunch of items? I think we kind of went through that. So giving them to friends and family isn't a write-off. That is not considered a donation. So unfortunately, no, it doesn't count as giving them away. Now, actually donating them, you have to actually donate to a nonprofit organization. If a company says gifts you a bunch of products totaling more than 500, then for instance, a closed company sends you $50, it would be something you really need to keep track. Agreed. So again, you guys, and this is a conversation to have with your tax accountant. If there's a difference between an agent and a brand that you're working with. Most brands will send you a 1099 NEC after sending you anything with a quality over $700. Most agents are in Asia, so they're not sending you anything. If IRS audits you, they're not coming to your home to go through your drawers. So it's a reasonable conversation you need to have with your accountant. My advice is keep track of your items so that you can have that conversation and you can have it on the basis of what actually happened to you versus what happened to David. Because it's a very different business structure as to what people do. Again, someone like me, I just don't get a lot of expensive items. So my bookkeeping is very different. I don't have anything to depreciate. I don't have $500 item to donate where I actually need to get a receipt with them writing out the value of the item. Most of those donation receipts, you guys, they don't even come with the value. They don't even bother putting how much you donated. So you need to collect those. You need to collect your donation receipts because they need to be included for your audit if you do get audited. So you can write off up to $500 in what they call cash donations. So that's without the receipts. Most of us are writing off more based sheer on the amount of things that we get, right? So if you think you want to write off more than $500 in donations, then you need to keep those receipts. Those are the only receipts that I'm actually very particular on you guys keeping. Now, a lot of people ask me, do I need to keep guest receipts? No. Okay, unless you're filling up and paying cash, just use your credit card. Better yet, use your business debit card or business credit card. Because when IRS asks you to prove that you filled up your car, you're going to go to your credit card, type in Shell, and print out a page of every time that you filled up and say, this is my gas expense. Now, the restaurants, a lot of people asking for meal and entertainment. IRS has kind of cut down on that. They completely eliminated it in 2021. You could write off no entertainment whatsoever and only 50% of your meals, and only if they were to be had with a client or potential vendor. They came back in 2022 and gave it back to us because of the COVID, and everybody was just such a bad place. But they are minimizing on it. They are auditing on it. They're taking things out. So for your meals, anything over $50, do keep those receipts. Do put notes on them. Had lunch with so and so. Alcohol is not a write-off. Traffic tickets are not a write-off. Parking tickets are not a write-off. Medical expenses only become a write-off at a certain point and with a certain income. So there's a threshold for every income. So that's another conversation to have with your tax accountant. Things that you purchase at the store, anything over $500, keep your receipt, scan it, keep it in your Google Drive or wherever you keep the rest of your videos and stuff, so you have it, because anything over $500 can be depreciated over a number of years and very often is audited, in fact. All right, we have a few more minutes. See what else we can answer. We did this one. How much the service cost? Our services start at $250 for accounting and $350 for tax returns, but they vary for almost every client. This is a very, very, very basic service you're getting at those amounts. I will be honest with you. We are very price competitive in the market, but we are not competitive with H&R Block. If you pay a person to edit a video or do social media tasks via PayPal or Fiverr, do you need to issue them a 1099? All right, 1099 is another thing of there's no do you need to. IRS will actually not audit you based on your 1099s. However, if you want to write it off as a business deduction, you should issue a 1099. Now, for our clients that are our tax clients, we include 5 1099s in their end of the year for free. So as long as you provide us information before January 15th, we will e-file those for you free of charge. Most people don't have more than 5. We give discounted amount for the rest that you have. Again, anything over it was $680 last year. I haven't looked at 2023 yet. I can't imagine it's going to be much more. Maybe it's going to be $720 this year. Anything over that amount, you should issue a 1099 for, because this is your protection. Are you going to go to jail if you don't? Absolutely not. Are you going to fail an audit if you don't? You won't fail it, but it will be more challenging. So let's do those 1099s and let's not worry about them. This is the way that we look at it. PayPal used to be about 5 years ago where PayPal said you don't have to issue 1099s because we issue them. Guess what? They issue them from PayPal, not from you. So this does not help you. So we went back and yeah, we're issuing 1099s. Fiverr is a little different. And I'm never sure if it's Fiverr or Fiverr, but it's a little different because a lot of them are overseas. So there's no 1099 to issue because they don't have a social security number. So we play around with that as much as possible. All right, slip it all in the boxes. Boxes are good, however, receipts fade. I literally just spent 2 weeks of September ironing client's receipt because he got into an audit and they went back a few years. We got out the boxes and all of the receipts were faded. So you guys, you want to invest into those $50 scanners that you can put on your desk and it scans receipts and then it it saves it for you on a drive and it puts the actual if it can read the name of the vendor, it puts the vendor name, the date, and the amount. There's scanners like that all over Amazon. They're cheap and they work great. And then you don't need to worry. Come at the end of the day, scan your 4 receipts, call it a day, never need to worry about that. If you get points on a business credit card or cash back, is that income? Yes, it is. What if you use it for business? Is it then an expense? It is income. If you use it for business, it becomes your expense. Absolutely correct. We record it so there's an actual income that your business makes. Whatever you do, whether it's from collaborations or affiliate links, that's your real business income. And then there's miscellaneous or other income. And this is where all of those points are coming in as your income. If you do use them for business, which is what you kind of expected to do there, then it becomes your expense. If you just get a cash back, then income is income. So I think we have 3 minutes left. So I just want to say, you guys, I am available over the messenger for the next ever because I just live on my messenger. So feel free to message me to set up your free call. We have few openings in the next day or two, and then and then Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, I'm gonna do a few calls, and after that, I'm gonna kind of shut down for the Black Friday week. Um, those are free of charge, no strings attached. If you have more questions, that would be a good way to get better one-on-one answers.
This is perfect. Very, very good webinar. I learned a lot, and I think a lot of people in the chat can agree that even though these are general information, it really opens our eye to what we should pay attention to. I have a lot to talk to you about. And yes, I've gotten a lot of stuff. And the good thing is I haven't got rid of most of it, but I probably have received maybe 100 times more than other people have. So for my stuff, it's kind of a big deal, and
Right.
I haven't had time to write it down. So lots of stuff like that makes me more conscious, and just understanding this and just gaining the mindset to think about this thing is very helpful. And can you explain a little bit more of how they can just go ahead and sign up for your session? Is there a link? Is there how do they
If
schedule
you
that?
guys, we have, we should have set up some kind of scheduler, but we have not because we're all super busy with the Black Friday coming in, I think. So the best way, just message me on the messenger and we will go over, my available time. And you guys tell me when you want to jump in. We're going to do 30 minutes um, initial calls. This is no strings attached, completely free call. If you want to go on further, sign up for the service. We're charging $50 for the second consultation. However, if you then end up signing up for our services in the next 72 hours after the second call, that $50 goes towards your annual retainer.
Wait, I feel like there's a lot of value in this, especially if we need your service. For example, if we sign up for your services and I have questions every month, can I literally ask you?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Wow.
So few people that are my clients from your group are unfortunately not here, but I guess they're not here because they already know all of this. But I have few people literally message me almost on a daily basis. How do I fill out this form? What do I put here? Is this my EIN? Wait, where is the EIN? So, I'm pretty much, as you David know, I'm pretty much on my messenger 24/7. Even
That's
if you just message me on the messenger on Facebook, I will give you the available times. And maybe by the next time we do it, we set up some kind of scheduling tool there.
yeah. The so right now, so how would people reach out to you just by Facebook Messenger? And I guess that's people that know you. But what about people that are watching on YouTube that may have never heard of you? I guess they can join our Facebook group and then reach out to you because you're on there.
Yep, that would be the best way. I'm a little hesitant to give my phone number out at this
Let's not put
point.
that. Yeah. So, guys, if you guys are
Um,
watching on our YouTube, there's a link I'm gonna put in the description of the YouTube, to find our group. In our group, you'll see this post, and you can actually reach out to her. She can
we can
share
put
her.
my
Yeah.
email in there as well, so we can do the
Yeah.
email right
Yeah,
also.
we'll put her email so you can reach out to her directly. But
Yep.
you guys, if you're watching this, you should also join our groups because we have a lot of educational discussions like this, especially on strategies, especially on different opportunities, and more importantly, how to handle all the taxes and all the stuff that comes with it. Because if you don't do it right, you might be having a lot of nightmares like I do. All right. So I think that wraps up our webinar. Any last word, Rita, before we sign off today?
I think, for all of you guys, I think it's totally worth it to do the 30 minutes call. Like I said, I'm going to repeat myself, no strings attached, nothing to lose. If you decide not to go with us, you can get at least a few things answered. I'm here. I love the group because it helped me personally so much. I don't think I could have done live ever if David wasn't there when I just started. So I love to help. You guys are in those groups. You gave me so many good advices. So if I can give you an advice, even if it is free, it is what it is, but you might actually find value in my services.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rita, for your time. I love that you're compassionate to help others because I think that's the field that lets our group thrive because when we help each other, we all learn and grow together. As long as there's nobody just leeching, we love to help others and we hope that they help us. So by you returning your service to us, that is so much appreciated by just sharing all this information where you could have charged for this webinar, you could charge for your upcoming one-on-one private webinar, but you decide to give it out for free, and that's really appreciated because like I said, some of these questions I wish I had somebody to ask for. If I really wanted to be cheap, I would just save all those questions and ask you on that one-on-one call. But I feel like I want to have that ability every month, maybe every other week. I don't know if you want to really sign me up as a client because I have a lot of questions, but it sounds like your service allows for that. So I'm super happy to take advantage of that as long as you continue to offer it. So I'm very excited
Absolutely.
with that. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for your time. You guys are always welcome to reach out to Rita to set up that and continue conversations with her. And thank you for all being part of our webinar. I hope you guys have a great day, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye.